let's talk about one of history's biggest, most epic backfires, the assassination of Julius Caesar. You've got a bunch of senators, right? They're absolutely convinced they're saving the Roman Republic from a would-be king. So they stab him 23 times right there on the Senate floor. Their goal? To bring back liberty. And the result? Well, they didn't just fail to save the Republic, they basically signed its death warrant. And in doing so, they paved the way for a line of emperors that would last for 1,500 years.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. And yes, that is a quote from the wise old turtle in Kung Fu Panda. But somebody on a Reddit forum pointed this out, and they were spot on. It perfectly, tragically captures this entire story. The assassins took a very specific road to avoid having a king, and on that exact road, they met their destiny, an emperor.
So that's the big question we're going to unpack today. How on earth did this single act of political violence, this thing that was supposed to be a hard reset for the Republic, become the very thing that triggered its final, total collapse? It is a wild story of good intentions, absolutely terrible planning, and consequences so huge they literally reshaped the entire Western world. So let's figure out how it all went so wrong.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the massive irony of the situation. Then we'll actually step into the assassin's shoes and try to understand why they felt this was their only move. After that, we'll watch their plan just completely unravel, see who rose up from the chaos, and then unpack the genius strategy someone used to build an empire right under everyone's noses. And finally, we'll ask the biggest question of all: was the Republic even salvageable at that point? All right, let's set the scene. It's the Ides of March, 44 BCE. Now, in the minds of the guys holding the daggers, this isn't murder. No. This is more like an exorcism. They truly believed they were cutting a cancer out of Rome to save the soul of their 500-year-old republic. And that, right there, is the heart of this whole tragedy. Guys like Brutus and Cassius, they genuinely saw themselves as liberators, as heroes of the people. But they just fundamentally misread the entire situation, the politics, the people, the state of the republic itself. So to really get this, we have to understand why they felt that assassination wasn't just an option, it was their only option. To get inside their heads, you gotta understand the world they were so desperate to protect. This wasn't just about personal beef with Caesar, though believe me, there was plenty of that to go around. This was about defending a system, a whole way of life that had kept their families at the very top of the food chain for generations. The word king, rex in Latin, was basically the dirtiest word in Roman politics. I mean, their entire republic was literally founded on the story of overthrowing a tyrant king. For them, power was supposed to be shared. It was supposed to be temporary. It was meant to be won through this constant, fierce competition among the nobles. So the idea of one guy holding all the power forever, that was their absolute worst nightmare. And, well, Caesar started looking a lot like that nightmare. So after he wins the Civil War, Caesar gets named dictator for 10 years. Now, the office of dictator wasn't new, but it was supposed to be a short-term, break glass in case of emergency kind of thing, usually for 6 months tops. A 10-year term, that was completely unheard of. And for the Senate, it was a massive, flashing red flag. And then, just about a month before they killed him, he's named Dictator Perpetuo, dictator for life. And that was it. That was the line. In their eyes, this was a king in all but name. All of their deepest, darkest fears were confirmed in that one title. And their list of grievances was long. When you boil it down, this was really about their own survival as the ruling class. Their power was just evaporating. Caesar was stacking the Senate with his buddies, and his popular policies were making the common people love him, which let him just bypass the traditional power of the aristocracy. They felt like they were going from being partners in governing Rome to just being his subjects. And here's where it gets really interesting. Caesar had this famous policy of clemencia, or mercy. He'd beat his enemies in the Civil War, and then he'd pardon them. You'd think that'd win him some friends, right? Nope, it totally backfired. The enemies he pardoned, and a lot of them joined the conspiracy, felt this constant, grinding humiliation. They owed him everything, and they hated it. Meanwhile, Caesar's own supporters felt totally cheated. They're watching their old enemies get the same treatment they did. In the end, he managed to alienate everybody for completely opposite reasons. So they kill him. They strike their great blow for freedom. And then, crickets. Just chaos. Because it turns out the assassins had a plan for exactly one thing: killing Caesar. They had zero plan for what to do 5 minutes later. The famous orator Cicero,
he wasn't in on the plot, but he was sympathetic. He absolutely nailed it. The courage of men, but the planning of children. They had the guts to do the deed, but the political foresight of a toddler. They honestly thought that killing the man would kill the movement. That could not have been more wrong.
I mean, the list of things they didn't account for is just staggering. They thought the people of Rome would carry them on their shoulders. Instead, Caesar's will gets read aloud, and suddenly every single citizen in Rome gets a nice little payout from the guy they just murdered. They were expecting parades, they got citywide riots. And the biggest blind spot of all, they had no clue that Caesar had a secret weapon, a quiet, ruthless 18-year-old grandnephew and heir named Octavian.
And just look how fast it all fell apart. The very day they kill him, they're not celebrating. They're hiding on a hill like cornered animals. Within a week, after that funeral, they are public enemy number one, being hunted through the very streets they thought they just saved. Their glorious victory lasted, less than 3 days? You know, they say nature abhors a vacuum. Well, so does politics. With the conspirators on the run and the Senate totally lost, two men step into the void to claim Caesar's legacy, styling themselves as his Avengers. So in one corner, you've got Mark Antony. He's Caesar's right-hand man, a seasoned general, a guy the troops love. And in the other corner, you have Octavian, a sickly, completely unknown teenager. Nobody, and I mean nobody, especially not Antony, took him seriously. They saw a boy. They should have seen the most brilliant and ruthless political mind in Roman history. And just like that, the stage was set for another 13 years of brutal, bloody civil war. So, after all those years of war, Octavian, who now calls himself Augustus, comes out on top. He's the last man standing. And he proceeds to do exactly what Caesar couldn't and what the conspirators died to prevent. He ends the Republic. But the genius is in how he did it. He never ever called himself a king. This quote is his propaganda masterpiece. He publicly claimed that he restored the Republic. He kept all the old job titles, consuls, senators, you name it. He let them keep their fancy robes in their meetings. He didn't call himself a master. He called himself princeps, the first citizen. It was all a brilliant, beautiful illusion. So how did he pull it off? It was like death by 1,000 legal cuts. He didn't stage a coup. He just had the Senate vote him existing Republican powers, one after another, until he held all of them at the same time. He got the tribune's power to veto any law. He got the proconsul's power to command every army. He got to control the Senate's agenda, and he became the head priest. He was a one-man government hiding in plain sight. And just like that, the job was done. The facade was still there, the Senate still met, elections still happened, but it was just a show. All the real power, the army, the money, the laws, it all ran through him. Look, he gave the Roman people peace and stability after 100 years of civil war, and they craved that. But the price for that peace was the very liberty the assassins had killed Caesar to protect. And this leads us to the biggest question of all. Did the assassins' epic blunder actually create the Roman Empire? Or was an emperor, some kind of emperor, just inevitable at that point? Was the Republic already a walking corpse by the time they drew their daggers? I mean, when you look at the 100 years before Caesar, you see a system that is just falling apart at the seams. Political murder becomes a tool. Armies stop being loyal to the state and start being loyal to generals who promise them retirement packages. Powerful men prove again and again that if your army is big enough, you can basically do whatever you want. The old rules were already broken, long before Caesar came along. And that's the thought I really want to leave you with. Was Caesar this unique, terrible disease that single-handedly destroyed the Republic? Or was he just the final, most obvious symptom of a system that had been rotting from the inside for a century, eaten away by greed, ambition, and violence? The conspirators bet everything on him being the disease. But in trying to cut it out, they might have been the ones who actually killed the patient.